You must surgically remove the sentimental hallucination that the people around you, your friends, your family, your peers, want you to succeed, because the brutal biological reality is that they want you to survive, but they absolutely do not want you to thrive. You are currently operating under an implicit social contract of mediocrity, a silent, invisible treaty signed in blood when you were part of the herd, which stipulates that as long as everyone remains equally miserable, equally broke, and equally stagnant, the group cohesion is maintained and no one has to face the terrifying void of their own wasted potential. When you decide to scale your aggression, to demand 45 videos a day, to chase 18 million a month, you are not just setting a personal goal. You are unilaterally tearing up that contract and declaring war on the comfort zone of everyone who knows you. You become a mirror of shame. Every pound of fat you lose is an indictment of their gluttony. Every dollar you earn is a spotlight on their poverty. Every hour you work is a judgment on their leisure. You are no longer their friend. You are a walking, breathing, biological insult to their existence, because your success strips away their excuses. As long as you were down there with them in the mud, they could say, the system is rigged or it's impossible to make it. But the moment you climb out of the mud, you prove that the system is not impenetrable and that the mud was a choice, which forces them to confront the agonizing truth that they are not victims of circumstance, volunteers of apathy. This triggers a violent homeostatic response. Just as the human body sweats to cool down a fever, the social group mobilizes to cool down the outlier who is heating up. They will not attack you with a knife, that is too honest. They will attack you with concern. They will say, you work too much, you've changed, money isn't everything, be realistic. Do not be fooled by the softness of the tone. This is sabotage masked as love. They are trying to reinfect you with the virus of mediocrity because your immunity makes them feel sick. They are experiencing status anxiety in real time. In the hierarchy of the tribe, if you ascend, they relatively descend, even if their position hasn't changed. By standing still while you fly, they are effectively falling, and the human animal will fight to the death to avoid the sensation of falling. You must understand that betrayal is rarely a calculated act of malice. It is an instinctive reflex of self-preservation. They are trying to preserve the version of you that made them feel safe. The you that was broke, the you that was available, the you that was manageable. That version is dead, and they are grieving the loss of their pet loser. The mechanism is rooted in predictability. A poor man is predictable. He has no options, so he stays in his lane. A sovereign architect is unpredictable. He has resources, he has leverage, he has velocity. The tribe fears unpredictability because in the ancestral environment, unpredictable things, tigers, storms, maniacs, killed you. When you become wealthy and powerful, you become a chaos agent to them. They can no longer control you. They can no longer predict you, and therefore they can no longer trust you. This is why the betrayal comes from the closest circle first. The stranger doesn't care if you succeed. He has no emotional investment in your failure. But your brother, your best friend, your spouse, they have built their identities around their relationship with the old you. If the old you disappears, their identity destabilizes. They are not trying to stop you from growing. They are trying to stop themselves from shattering. You must view this not as a tragedy, but as a filter event. The pressure you apply to your own life acts as a centrifuge, separating the heavy elements, loyalists, from the light elements, parasites. When you accelerate, the G-force will naturally strip away anyone who does not have the structural integrity to withstand the speed. Do not slow down to catch them. If they fall off, they were meant to fall off. You are building a rocket, not a bus. A bus stops for everyone. A rocket burns everything behind it to reach orbit. The heat of your exhaust is what burns the bridges, and that is good, because a bridge to the past is just a tunnel to failure. You must accept that loneliness is the tax you pay for the ascent. The air is thinner at the top, and there is less room for the crowd. The betrayal is the signal that you are leaving the gravity well of the average. It is not a sign that you are doing something wrong. It is the definitive proof that you are finally doing something right. The second phase of the betrayal mechanic involves the ruthless tactical deployment of your own history as a ballistic missile designed to shoot down your ascending trajectory, a strategy rooted in the asymmetry of information, where your closest circle possesses the decryption keys to your former self, the archive of failures, and they will not hesitate to leak this data to invalidate your current authority. You must understand that to the stranger, you are a blank slate defined only by your current output, but to the friend, you are a cumulative average of every every mistake you have made since childhood. They remember the time you borrowed money and didn't pay it back. They remember the failed business ideas. They remember the nights you spent blackout drunk, and they hoard these memories not as souvenirs, but as ammunition for the moment you try to rise above them. When you declare a new standard of excellence, they counterattack with consistency policing, accusing you of hypocrisy by citing a version of you that no longer exists. They will say, "Who do you think you are? I remember when you were cleaning toilets, attempting to tether your identity to a fixed point in the past to prevent the quantum leap into the future." This is origin blackmail. They are trying to enforce a statute of limitations on growth, believing that your past creates a ceiling on your future, and they act as the enforcers of this imaginary law, because if you can transcend your past, it implies they could too, and their refusal to do so becomes a moral failure. You will encounter the humility trap, where they disguise their envy as a moral lesson, telling you to stay humble or remember where you came from. Be very careful. Remember where you came from is code for stay where you belong. They want you to carry the geography of your poverty like a cross. They want you to honor the hood, the village, or the struggle by remaining a prisoner of it. The sovereign architect rejects this geographically bound guilt. You honor your origin by exceeding it, not by inhabiting it, but they will weaponize nostalgia to drag you back, romanticizing the era of mutual suffering. Remember the good old days when we were broke? Trying to trigger a dopamine release associated with the bonding of the pack, effectively trying to make you homesick for a burning building. They are selling you a rose-tinted hallucination of the past to distract you from the concrete construction of the future. They know that if they can get you to look back, you will slow down. It is the story of Orpheus and Eurydice. The moment you turn around to acknowledge the underworld you left, you are pulled back into it. They will engage in character assassination by proxy, subtly undermining your reputation with new allies by sharing funny stories that humiliate you. "Oh, is he doing big business now? That's funny. I remember when he couldn't even manage a lemonade stand." This is not a joke. It is a status correction signal. They are signaling to the room that they have dominance over you because they knew you when you were weak. They are trying to shrink you back to a manageable size. They function as anchors in the truest nautical sense. Heavy, rusted iron designed to dig into the mud and hold the ship in place against the current. When the ship, you, turns on the engines, ambition, the chain snaps tight. The vibration you feel, the tension, the arguments, the guilt, is just the physics of the chain stretching. You have two choices: cut the engine and drift back into the mediocrity they find comfortable, or throttle up until the chain snaps and the anchor is left behind in the silt. You must realize that they are gaslighting your evolution. When you speak with new vocabulary, they mock you for talking fancy. When you dress with precision, they ask, "Who are you trying to impress?" They are trying to make you feel insane for evolving, trying to frame your improvement as a betrayal of the real you. But the real you they refer to is just a snapshot of a caterpillar. You are now a moth. To the caterpillar, the moth looks like a monster. They will try to drag you into old dramas, reigniting petty conflicts from 5 years ago to consume your RAM. This is resource depletion warfare. If they can get you arguing about who said what at a party in 2019, they have successfully stolen the energy you needed to close a deal in 2026. Do not engage. You do not litigate the past. You execute the future. The archive is closed. The files are sealed. You are a sovereign state, and you do not extradite your attention to a jurisdiction that no longer has power over you. The final phase of the anti-betrayal protocol is the execution of the scorched earth exit, a strategic maneuver where you unilaterally sever the emotional, financial, and logistical conduits that bind you to the parasitic host without engaging in the futility of an exit interview or a request for closure. You must understand that you cannot negotiate your freedom with a jailer who believes he owns the keys to your soul. Therefore, you do not ask for permission to leave. You simply detonate the bridge while you are standing on it and ride the shockwave to the other side. The slow fade is a coward strategy that leaves zombie connections alive, threads of obligation that they can tug on months later, pull you back into the crab bucket. Instead, you must implement the zero explanation policy. When you cut a person off, you do not write a long text explaining your feelings. You do not outline their crimes. You do not give them a roadmap to redemption. Giving them an explanation is giving them ammunition for a debate. And you are not a debater, you are a sovereign. Silence is the only unanswerable argument. By refusing to explain, you deny them the closure they crave, leaving them to wrestle wrestle with the ghost of your absence while you are already 3 time zones away building the empire. You must accept that this will make you the villain in their narrative. Good. Let them paint you as the monster. The sheep always fear the wolf who refuses to be sheared. Being the bad guy in the story of a loser is a badge of honor. It means you violated their expectations of compliance. You must immediately execute the financial firewalling of your relationships. If you owe them money, pay it back today. Even if it breaks you. If they owe you money, write it off as a severance tax and walk away. Never let a debt be the chain that keeps you tethered to a sinking ship. Money is the most potent vector for their control. They will use a $50 loan from 2018 as a reason to demand 50 hours of your time in 2026. By clearing the ledger, you remove their leverage. You are buying your sovereignty. It is cheap at any price. You must also sanitize your digital perimeter. The soft block, muting, is insufficient. You need the hard block. You remove their access to your data stream. They do not get to watch your stories. They do not get to see your wins. You are not performing for an audience of haters. You are performing for the market. Access to your life is a privilege reserved for those who are compounding your growth, not those who are hedging against it. Psychologically, you must conduct a funeral for the living. This is a brutal internal ritual where you grieve the loss of the friend, the brother, or the partner as if they had physically died. You acknowledge that the person you loved was a snapshot in time that no longer exists, and the person standing before you now is a stranger wearing the skin of your memory. You cry, you rage, you scream into a pillow, and then you bury the memory in a concrete mental tomb and place a headstone on it. This prevents the zombie resurrection where you get lonely on a Friday night and text them. You cannot text a corpse. By internalizing their death, you immunize yourself against the guilt. You cannot save someone who is in love with their chains. And if you try to pull a drowning man into the boat who is panicking, he will capsize you both. The most compassionate thing you can do is let them sink so that at least one of you survives to tell the story. You must prepare for the vacuum of solitude. When you cut out the cancer, you are left with a hole. You will feel empty. You will feel alone. The silence will be deafening because you have removed the noise of their drama. Do not rush to fill this vacuum with new low-quality people just to numb the pain. The vacuum is sacred space. It is the clean room where the new architecture will be built. You must sit in the empty room and learn to be comfortable with the echo of your own ambition. The law of space dictates that the universe cannot bring you the generals, the architects, and the kings until you have evicted the jesters and the thieves. The new tribe is waiting for you at the next level, but they cannot see you while you are surrounded by the smoke of the old tribe. You must walk through the desert alone to reach the oasis. The betrayal was not a punishment, it was a graduation requirement. You have passed the test. The bridge is burned. The path is clear. Do not look back.